All right, hello and welcome to Liberty Basic Unit 2 of the Liberty Basic component. This is Lesson 3, Text Fields, or as I like to say, Windows Stuff Part 2. So we're looking at text boxes and text fields today. So last lesson we learned how to open a window and we put a button on it. So now we're going to add a text field control to our window that lets us display and edit a line of text. And we're going to use the text box statement or text box command to accomplish this. So I'd like you to type in the example below and see how it works. Now it is a rather lengthy bit of code here. So I'm going to have to ask that you press pause and type this in. Most of the stuff you've seen already. We've got window width stuff here that you can probably reuse. We've got a button that you've already got set up. And so the only thing that you really need to do is you need to add this bit of code here, this text box, and this print down here. And then you've got this one here, this print down here as well. So there's a few things you need to add to your current program. If you haven't opened it up, you should do so. And pause now, and then we'll move on. All right, so you should have got that typed into Liberty Basic. I'm going to cut and paste, as I always do, into Liberty, and let's see if it will run. And that's good. And hopefully this is what you've got here. You've still got that window that was existing from before, and you've got a text box here that's sort of crowded in here. We'll adjust that in a bit, but you'll notice that you can actually enter your name in there. And when you hit enter or you hit OK, then it comes back to you with your name. So it takes the contents of that text box, puts it in a notice, and that's about all it really does. Not that exciting, but we will get there. All right, so notice that the text box statement after the button statement, its format's very simple. It's very much similar to the ones you've seen already. We're going to say text box hash name window dot name field 6015 225. So the first item is again a handle. It's a handle for the text box. This is just like the handle that we gave to our button, except of course we use a different extension here, the dot extension. So the window must be the same as the window that you're putting it in. Then I'm going to go dot name field because that's exactly what it is. It's the name field. So where we're going to put the name in. The next two items, the 60 and 15, are the placement of the control or of the text box relative to the upper left-hand corner of the window. So in other words, it's 60 pixels over, that's the X, and 15 pixels down, that's the Y. The last two items, the 200 and the 25, are the width and height of the control. If it isn't wide enough, then the end of the line will not appear, and if it isn't tall enough, you won't see any text on the control at all. So if you're having some issues, you might need to fix those. The 200 is how long it is, and the 25 has how tall it is. Okay. Again, notice that both the button and the text box commands must appear before the window is open. You cannot create a text box once you've opened a window. You have to do all the setup first before you open. So after our open statement, we print some text, enter your name into our text box control. You can print to text fields, text boxes, once you've opened the window, but you can't set them up. So this is the text that you see in the text box when the program is run. So let me just show you here in the program. We've got our window set up. We've got our button set up. Here's our text box that we're creating. Okay, and then I open the window, and then this is the part I'm talking about. I print, and you'll notice that this handle right here, this name window dot name field, is the same as the text box handle. So I'm printing to that text box, and what am I printing? I'm printing whatever's in quotations. Enter your name. Okay, and once again, when we run it, the enter your name shows up in there. All right. Let's look at how we change the code after our OK click branch label. Instead of just displaying the same message every time, it displays the text in our text box control. We accomplish this by printing a command to the text box with the line. So this is a very important line right here. Okay, and what this line says is that I want to print, I'm sending a command, I'm printing to name window.name field, and when it sees this exclamation mark, then it knows that it's a command. We're not actually going to print something. Okay, and that's what it says down here. When printing a command to a text box control, the command must start with an exclamation point. This is how Liberty Basic knows that we want to send a command to the text box. The contents of our text box would have been replaced with contents question mark name string if we left out our exclamation point. So in other words, I'm going to show you that right here. So this print down here, go ahead and take that exclamation mark out. And when you run this, and I enter my name, and I click OK, you'll notice that it's trying to put that contents thing here, and it doesn't have this. You must have that exclamation mark to send the command. And so what it does is it says, hey, go to namewindow.name field, get the contents, and store whatever's in the contents, store it as name string. And then when I send my notice, name string is equal to whatever I typed in there. So it's kind of like an input, very, very similar to an input. This is how we input something into the program using a Windows. We use this command exclamation contents command. Okay, so yeah, if you got problems like this, it's likely because you're missing your exclamation mark. You can also change the font inside a text box, and we did that here. I'm going to send a command, once again, to use the exclamation point. So print to the name field, exclamation. I'm going to change the font. So exclamation font means change the font to Courier New 8 italic. So 8-point font, Courier in italics. Okay, all of that has to happen before you actually print this, type some text here. So you can make that little change if you want. If you want to pause there, type some text here, you can go ahead and do that. Okay, here's a practice little assignment. The window in the name practice example that we just did doesn't look quite right. I need you to fix it. Adjust the program so it asks for the user's name and says in the notice window, hello name. So in other words, if I type in Bob, it should say hello Bob. And I'd like you to adjust it so that the font is a bold 14-point Beitang font. Okay, change this here. There's no hand-in assignment here, just play an experiment, mess around a little bit. If you have time, I suggest changing your blackjack so it uses Windows. It's a bit of a, if you're ahead, you may have time for that. If you're sort of behind, you may not. Maybe just a hit or stand window with buttons might be something that you could do as well. Okay, so number one is to play around and get this window size properly, get the button size properly, get the text box in a good spot that works good. That's it for this lesson, and we'll see you soon.